So this is going to be a quick video on Suicide Squad, the extended cut. Well, basically I was intrigued by the Joker Harley scenes, the additional scenes with Joker and Harley. It really does reveal a bunch of stuff about Joker and Harley, which I thought was very interesting. In addition, you had also Harley with the dynamic of the squad itself. They had some more footage of her there. Some of it was very grating, some of it was very dramatic, so it took away from the humor. And I could see why they left it out of the theatrical cut. But it does give some kind of pretext and some sort of background to Harley Quinn. She is somewhat of a bitter person. You also realize that we see some interactions between Rick Flag and Deadshot. And I thought that did give some context for why Deadshot was going along with Rick Flag. But there wasn't too much of a hitting of heads against each other. But it gives an idea of why Deadshot said, "My cards are on the table, man." It makes sense now. Other than that, you had a couple of other moments which were very interesting, cameos by the director and so on. But for the most part, the extended cut, I don't think adds to the story of Suicide Squad. For those people who feel it needed to flush out the story, it doesn't really flush out the story as far as I'm concerned. And also, I think the theatrical release is the release that should have gone into the cinemas, because I think it's a lot lighter and it's a lot more entertaining, but yet it's still rich in character. I think this extended cut was just for real fans of Suicide Squad to get a little bit more. You're already roped in. But I don't think this cut would have roped in the viewers like the actual theatrical cut did. So I think the theatrical cut gets a nod on the extended cut. That's just my personal opinion. Also, I also think that David Ayer's vision was the theatrical cut. I think he was much more elated with the theatrical cut because it's able to encapsulate everything and still be very highly entertaining. You really get roped into the characters in the theatrical cut. I found myself kind of nodding off at certain points in the extended cut because it took a little while to build up and develop. So I have to give nods off to WB. They made a good decision on that one. David Ayer really went along with it 100%. By the way, the presentation of Suicide Squad was just meant to be exactly the way it was presented. So it wasn't like WB was apologizing for the theatrical cut. It really, as some people were saying, some apologists for Suicide Squad, they were saying they were really correct. The extended cut was just additional information for people who were thirsting for more information on Suicide Squad. That's what you got with the extended cut. So I really enjoyed the extended cut. There's certain things in the extended cut that can explain other things in the theatrical cut, but I really like the theatrical cut more than the extended cut. Just my personal opinion. It was much more entertaining to me, especially how the jokes dropped and how the punchlines fell in the theatrical cut. Made it more of an enjoyable ride than, say, the extended cut. But nonetheless, the extended cut does give you a little bit more information. It doesn't affect the story, but it gives you more information for the characters. I thought that was good. I kind of like what WB is doing. I think what they're doing is they're creating, for home release, they're giving you a little bit added information, a little bit more information. And of course they have the deleted scenes and so on. So I'm not mad at WB. If they want to continue this trend, no problem. Just don't. I liked how Suicide Squad came out in theaters, right? I'm hoping with Wonder Woman that you get that kind of quality or better. In fact, I would prefer if you get better quality, okay? Because Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Cut, was the cut that should have gone into theaters. Period. Zack Snyder's best work to me was that cut, the Ultimate Cut. Theatrical cut was okay, but it wasn't on that level. Suicide Squad was enjoyable. Story wasn't that great, and the theatrical cut beats back the extended cut, the director's cut, right? And of course, they still left out scenes from that movie. Wonder Woman. WB needs to get Wonder Woman right, and then they can have an extended cut. It doesn't necessarily have to be better. It doesn't have to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it needs to be something where you have a little variety, and that would be great. But if you're going to do the theatrical release of Wonder Woman, get that thing right. I don't care if the critics don't like it. Just get it right. That means you need to have a certain degree of linearity in your storytelling. Alright, enough of that with Suicide Squad. Let's get to the elections. So Donald Trump won the elections, and I gave myself a while just to comment on him. And so far, scarily as it may, even though there are apologists trying to apologize for him, and I've been watching certain apologists who try to apologize for Donald Trump, but it's quite clear from his actions that he's consistent with his neo-fascist views, and also his anti, or shall I say, his Islamophobia. He's still continuing along these lines. Islamophobia seems to be along his lines. His policies and the people he's putting in positions surrounding him are white, old males. There's no diversity in his selection of people surrounding him. We also notice that these people, their policies are very much sort of tending towards alt-right. You've got a guy that was writing for an alt-right newspaper. So this guy is like, that newspaper has had fascist, racist points of views. So it's really creepy when you see this guy making these kinds of movements with these kinds of people. And some people are saying, well, give Donald Trump a chance. You know, I heard Hillary Clinton and I heard Barack Obama saying that because they're trying to be hopeful. But I'm going to tell you guys straight up, don't give this guy a chance at all. The warning signs are right in front of your face. The people he's selecting are not people who you want to represent the United States of America to the world, one, and two, they're not people that represent the United States of America. They may represent a certain portion of the United States of America, people who are fascist and people who are racist, people who are pathological liars, people who try to spin things. You know, they may even represent people who are special interests. They may even represent people from the deep South and middle America who feel America should look one way and have one set of values. And those people who elected Donald Trump may agree with that. But from what I'm seeing, the people he's surrounding him with, he's surrounding himself with lobbyists. He's surrounding himself with people who have value systems that are just questionable. Their moral fabric is questionable. They're not inclusive people, but exclusive people. If this is his way of making America great again, I don't want it to be great, you know? So, quite frankly, what I am seeing, and people have a right to be scared of what is happening, and people have a right to speak out about what is happening, no matter what person tries to spin it and say, give him a chance. We're not going to give him a chance. And the reason we're not going to give him a chance, he has to prove himself. He already put out there, and his history shows that he is sexist. His father was racist. It showed that he has a history of saying things which are controversial, and not only controversial, he's acted on controversially. He's had a history of swindling people and deceiving, and so when he tries to take multiple positions, he's trying to mask his true intent, and we know his true intent is not for the greater good of the majority of people of diverse backgrounds. And he's continued to say that his policy will be to remove people who are in the United States of America who have some sort of criminal past. And I have no problem with you removing those people who are not citizens of America with a criminal past. But I believe that rhetoric is also speaking about people who are there legally who will be sent back to their respective countries. In other words, they're trying to purge. I am getting the sentiment, and most people are, of ethnic cleansing. This is the kind of talk that Hitler did. Like I said, this guy is a neo-fascist. This guy is like Hitler. The people he's surrounding himself with show us this. So you have to make strong statements now about this guy. You have to make them hard. You have to make them strong. You do not lay back on this guy. You must pay attention to everything he's doing and the people surrounding him, because those people are enabling this situation. This is how Germany was converted into Nazi Germany. This is how Iran was converted into a dictatorship. This is how Egypt was converted into a dictatorship. Okay? This is how Iraq was converted into a dictatorship. Okay? So don't for a minute think people, what they try to do is prey on your fears to manipulate you as people. Okay? George Bush went in unsolicited and invaded Iraq. It was a preemptive strike. He had no grounds to go in. Up to this day, this guy has never been prosecuted in the Worldwide Criminal Court for his war crimes against Iraq and the people of Iraq. And he never will be. He used fear. He used the fear factor from 9/11 to spawn whatever he wanted to do. And this is the same thing Donald Trump is trying to do with his die-hard support. Okay? And the people have already been manipulated by him, have already been deceived and fooled by him. And he's going to continue to deceive them by trying to flip-flop and then finally come to the decision he wants to make. He's going to try and conceal his agenda. His agenda is very straightforward and very easy to see. The guy is a fascist. Okay? It is what it is. And you guys who don't disagree with me, time will truly tell. And yes, some people will benefit from it. People who are fascists like himself. And what he's going to do is try and build up the military complex like Hitler did. He's already talking, the talk we hear is elitist, elitist, elitist. And that's the same kind of rhetoric that happened in Germany that converted it into Nazi Germany. And this guy is going to try and take the world's superpower and he's going to try and convert it into a Nazi superpower. Okay? He's going to try and have an Aryan race of people, white people mostly. He's already spoken out against minorities, spoken out against people who have disabilities, spoken out against people who are not of his country, or at least they are immigrants into his country, spoken out against people of a certain religious background, and has backed it up by putting people in there who are against certain people of a certain religious background. I mean, the writing's on the wall. Everything he's doing is consistent. His actions are very consistent with a neo-fascist. Okay? And the white America, especially the middle America that voted him in, have these deep-seated, ugly underbelly of these things. And people saying, oh, you shouldn't say that about them. I'm saying it about them. I don't have a problem saying it. You cannot vote for somebody like that, who has been shown to be ugly and dirty, and expect this person to do something good for you. He's not going to turn around the economy for you. That's not. He's going to build up a military complex. You think you're going to be mining for coal and you're going to get proceeds from oil? Of course not. The oil companies are going to benefit. The coal companies are going to benefit. You're not going to benefit. You're just a stupid pawn. The only thing you're going to get is military. You're going to be able to incorporate into the military, and you're going to be a happy little pawn in the game. Okay? But you guys elected this dude. This guy should never ever have been president of the United States, but he is. You guys elected him. So you're going to reap the consequences of that. Donald Trump doesn't care about the little guy. Okay? The Republican Party does not care about the little guy. Okay, well, some people in the Republican Party do care. I can think of John Kasich. He cares about the little guy. Alright? And he worked along with Barack Obama. But as to the other people, they don't care about the little guy. They care about big business. What do you think these tax cuts are for? You think they're tax cuts for a small business? They'll tell you that. But look who gets the tax cuts. It's going to be big business. They'll gut America to help big business. Talking about big business staying in America to do jobs. In a competitive market where big businesses may go out and outsource, in a competitive market, they cannot sustain it if you keep on doing tax cuts. If in a competitive environment, you go and you give tax cuts to the big business, they're just going to suck your economy. It's going to hurt you more. In a competitive environment, to protect your local business, you do not give them tax cuts. You can give them other incentives. Do not give them tax cuts. Or if you're going to give them tax cuts, give them a tax cut, a percentage tax cut based on employing local people. But they are still supposed to employ foreign people. Because if you try to force nationalistic values, you become like Cuba. You become like Russia. You're not going to be competitive with the rest of the world. You have to do like Germany. get the best to do jobs, whether they're inside of America or not. You have to outsource your labor. The more transactions you do with the world is the more you're going to be able to be on the cutting edge. Furthermore, you have to advance your labor. Your labor force has to become educated. They have to become sharper. They have to become brighter. You have to encourage entrepreneurship. You have to encourage ingenuity. And that doesn't happen by being a machine. America has a lot of creative people. Your laws should be adapted to facilitate their creativity. That's what Barack Obama did. So, at the end of the day, you put a businessman who's a part of the system to run the system. He's not an outsider. Maybe he's an outsider to DC, but he ain't an outsider to the system. He's a friend of Wall Street. He's a friend of big business. Because he's a big business. You don't pick big business to run a country. So you guys just screwed yourselves over. And you're going to realize that soon enough. But in the meantime, you guys have a great one.